Hey guys, so this is a new show that we've started, Talking United, with me, Zafeer Aryan Reza, your host. With I have with me two other United fans, Aqib Bhai and Parvez Bhai. We'll be talking in our inaugural episode. We'll just be going over a few of the burning topics that have happened the past week or the past month, you could say. So yeah, Aqib Bhai, Parvez Bhai, we're glad to have you on. Let's hope show goes as it plans, and we have a lot to talk about.
With him, doesn't need him. Great cross. Solskjaer! Important touch. Goal. Puts it back in for Young. Beckham's cross. Kicks it there.
So the first topic, of course, the ESL, the Glazers, and the fan protests. What do you think will be the future, and what do you think this means in the long term? Parvez bhai, your thoughts on the matter?
Um, First of all, thanks, and it's the first episode. Really excited. Heart Pixel TV Sports United has their separate voice.
Of
We
course.
always have a big voice. এমনিতেই যে কোনো ম্যাচ হোক যেখানেই হোক, we're always there, and যে কোনো ম্যাচ হইলেই United still becomes relevant everywhere. So it's good to have our own Talking United, where it's all United. আপনারা সবাই দেখতেই পাচ্ছেন শাহানুর নাই এখানে, so it's just us.
Of course.
And then আমরা আর্সেনাল নিয়ে যদি ব্যান্টারও করে ফেলি মাঝখান দিয়ে, there's no one to defend.
No
But
one
at
no
this
one to talk
point,
about.
হ্যাঁ, ওই গ্লেজারদেরকে নিয়ে আসলে ব্যান্টারই করা উচিত, because what happened with them, the situation that has been panning out since 2005, মানে তখনও কিন্তু প্রোটেস্ট হয়েছিল, জাস্ট টু লুক ব্যাক এট দ্যাট পয়েন্ট, তখনও কিন্তু
Of
প্রোটেস্ট
course.
হচ্ছিল, and no one accepted them since the beginning, but they stuck at it. They're not going to sell, they're just going to take out money year by year, and তাদের যে অ্যাম্বিশন, ওই বোর্ড অ্যাম্বিশনটাকে ক্লাবের অ্যাম্বিশন বানাই দিছে, ইম্পোজ করে দিছে কাইন্ড অফ, which is a total mismatch with the expectations of the fans. And recently ESL এর ঘটনাটা elaborately কিছু না বললেও চলবে, everyone knows what happened there. There were these 12 clubs and United was one of them, যারা একটা ব্রেকআউট লিগে যেতে চেয়েছিল with their own system and their own revenues, and ওইসব ব্যাপারে যাইতেও চাই না in details, but that was a hugely bad move with huge fan reaction and reaction from the people all over the world. খুব negatively impact করছে ব্যাপারটা, and they all came back and said sorry. হাত পা গুটায় এসে আবার they're coming and saying sorry. So initially the Glazers were one of the last, I think, owners to speak up and put up an apology to the fans. But তারপর যেটা হয়েছে, the active fans over in Manchester, in England, ওরা কিন্তু খুব স্ট্রং একটা স্ট্যান্ড নিছে। সোশ্যাল মিডিয়ায় যতটুকুই আমরা ট্রাই করি, দ্যাটস আ ডিফারেন্ট থিং, বাট দে টুক আ বিগ স্ট্যান্ড অন দ্য স্ট্রিটস, এন্ড তারা কিন্তু তাদের একটা পিরিয়ডিক প্রোটেস্টের যে সিকোয়েন্স সেটা মেনটেন করে যাচ্ছে। এন্ড অ্যাট দিস পয়েন্ট দে আর নট হ্যাপি উইথ দ্য অ্যাপোলজি, দে ওয়ান্ট দ্য গ্লেজার্স টু বি আউট। মানে দে ডোন্ট ওয়ান্ট গ্লেজার্স অ্যাজ ওনার্স এনিমোর। মানে তারা যতই সরি বলুক, যতই তারা বলুক যে উইল ট্রাই এন্ড ইমপ্রুভ থিংস ইন আ বিগ ওয়ে, ওইসব জিনিস কিন্তু সব বাদ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। সো এখন যে স্টেজে আছে, the Glazers have been given an ultimatum. 7 দিন আগে একটা আলটিমেটাম দেওয়া হয়েছিল from the fans forum, in their big open proposal. It was a 4-point proposal যেখানে অনেক কিছু বলতেছিল regarding United infrastructure investment এর ব্যাপারে, and ESL এ ইউনাইটেড যে লসটা খাবে, because there are repercussions. ESL থেকে যেহেতু ইউনাইটেড বের হয়ে গেছে, they have to pay some kind of a fine to UEFA as punishment. ওইটা যাতে ক্লাবের কোনো টাকা থেকে না যায়, ওটা যাতে গ্লেজার্স এর পকেট থেকে যায়, দ্যাট ওয়াজ ওয়ান অফ দ্য আদার টপ পয়েন্টস। এন্ড আরো একটা ব্যাপার ছিল যে ইউরোপা বা ইউরোপিয়ান কম্পিটিশনে যখন ইউনাইটেড পার্টিসিপেট করবে ইন দ্য নেক্সট 2 years, ওখান থেকে they'll get a 5% reduction in the money that they're supposed to get. So ওইটাও as a punishment তাদের দেওয়া হয়েছে। সো গ্লেজার্স দের পকেট থেকে যাতে ওটা দেওয়া হয়, ওই ধরনের একটা কমিটমেন্ট চাওয়া হয়েছিল। And then there has to be fan representation in the board, এই ধরনের একটা প্রপোজাল ছিল। And then there was another proposal related to infrastructure, like আমাদের training grounds and stuff like that, ওগুলা পুরান ভাঙাচোরা, মানে they need a big revamp, and ওটার জন্য ইনভেস্টমেন্ট দরকার। So that was another issue that the fans brought up. So গ্লেজার ওদের অ্যাপোলজি আজকে রিপ্লাই দিছে, and it was a very, আজকে বলতে গতকাল রিপ্লাই দিছে, and it was a very কি বলবো, মানে ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক অ্যান্সার বেসিক্যালি, which also means যে তারা আসলে যাবে না। they don't want to go. আমরা লিভারপুল ইউনাইটেড ম্যাচ বন্ধ করে দিলাম with the protests, and they still feel যে they can reconnect to the fans at some level, বা মেবি সানচোকে যদি আমরা তারা যদি কিনে দেয় তাহলে মেবি উইল বি হ্যাপি, লাফালাফি করবো, বাট দে ডোন্ট at this point আমাদের end থেকে who are away from England, এখানে বসে যারা আমরা ইউনাইটেড ফলো করি, for us it's not possible to maybe join that active protest, but I'm happy to go along with what the majority of the United Supporters Forum are doing over there, because uh, since this flow has started, যদি কোনোভাবে গ্লেজারদেরকে বের করে দেওয়া যায়, it's a great thing. At least our perspective would be safeguarded, but on the other hand, contradictory ব্যাপারটা সেটাই হচ্ছে যে ইউনাইটেড is actually doing well. So এখন যে সিচুয়েশনটা
মানে
হয়েছে, I wouldn't
বাট
want my
আমার
club
কাছে
to not do well. On the other hand, I would also want the Glazers out. So এখন সিচুয়েশনটা এরকম দাঁড়ায় গেছে যে মানে আর্টেটার কেসটা যেরকম, কালকে যখন আর্সেনালের ঘটনাটা ঘটছে আফটার দে গট আউট অফ দ্য ইউরোপা লিগ, অনেকে বলছে ইচ্ছা করে করতেছে যাতে ক্রয়ঙ্কিরা চলে যায়, বাট দ্যাটস লাইক সুইসাইড, মানে এটা ইচ্ছা করে করে নাই, আর্সেনাল আর অ্যাকচুয়ালি দ্যাট ব্যাড। সো এগুলো মানে ফালতু রিজনিং দিয়ে লাভ নাই,
হ্যাঁ,
বাট
বাট
আমার কাছে
পারভেজ
যেটা
ভাই,
মনে হয়
একটা
ইট হ্যাজ টু।
আই হ্যাভ আ কোয়েশ্চেন। পারভেজ ভাই, আই হ্যাভ আ কোয়েশ্চেন। ডু ইউ থিংক দ্যাট এরকম একটা মানে these results, these are the courtesy of the Glazers, or is this just Ole
No, no,
and
no.
his team?
Definitely, despite the owners, মানে everything that United achieved since 2005 is despite the owners. মানে Sir Alex যা করে গেছে, তারপরে যতটুকুই যা হয়েছে, everything is despite the owners. কারণ they've taken wrong step after wrong step every season. আমরা যখন কোনো প্লেয়ারও নিয়ে আসি, it's because of shirt sales and stuff like that. They don't care about তারা actually টিমের জন্য কতটুকু ইম্পর্টেন্ট, বা তাদেরকে actually কোচ বা ম্যানেজার বা টিম ফুটবলিং সাইড অফ দ্য এন্ড থেকে তারা চাইছিল কিনা, কিছুই কিন্তু তারা বদার করে না। সো ইটস অল অ্যাবাউট দেয়ার অ্যাম্বিশনস, দেয়ার নিডস, দেয়ার ওয়ান্টস, হাউ দে ক্যান মেক প্রফিট। সো এই কারণেই কিন্তু এত বড় প্রোটেস্ট, নাহলে কিন্তু why would be making this protest at this time, যেখানে ইউনাইটেড after a long quite few years তারা খুব ভালো একটা পজিশনে আছে in a way, it looks like a good progress, it looks like we're moving in the right direction. তো এরকম টাইমে তো এক্সট্রা ভেজাল পাকানোর দরকার নাই অন্যদিকে ব্যাপার ডিফ্লেক্ট করে, বাট this is that serious, which is why this is a bigger problem that needs to be solved, and the wave has started. So I'm happy personally to accept whatever the United Supporters Forum are doing সামনে, but then again it can't fizz out like বলতেছিলাম and then we got Sancho and then হঠাৎ সবাই চুপ হয়ে গেছে, which is a big probability যে হইতেও পারে. So I'm interested to see what happens ওই ফ্রন্টে এসে, if we have a like bang on super transfer window, তাইলে কিন্তু দেখবা যে গ্লেজার্স মাইট টার্ন দ্য টাইড অন লাইক at least 50% of the fans, আমার কাছে অন্তত ওরকম মনে হচ্ছে। সো I'll be interested to see how far this movement goes, but Glazers are not punished enough. মানে UEFA ফাইনের টাকা দিয়ে হোক বা যেটা দিয়েই হোক, that's not punishment enough for them. They need a bigger punishment, and the biggest punishment would be for them to leave. So guys, just leave, man. Glazers, just leave.
I'm so sorry, I keep getting disconnected, sorry. So Aqib bhai, your thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, what do I say about the Glazers? Money ever since I started watching football in 2000, I started watching football in 2001, and there were no Glazers at that time. And then Glazers actually bought 3% of our shares in 2003, and then they ended up buying 98%. Like, what the hell? Money that's our club in the mud right there and then. And then to make things worse, this is like one of the most ludicrous thing anyone. If you're not a United fan, you would come to me and you'd be like, what the hell just happened? They bought this from a 500 million mortgage loan, and then what they did was they had to pay 60 million on interest every month, every year. So instead of paying them with their money, they used our money. For God's sake, they used our money to pay off those debts, and there were about 200 million on debt repayments. So if you count them in total, that would accumulate about 1 billion pound, 1 billion pound, because they actually bought us on debt, and we had to go through this. Why did we have to service the loan? I mean, it was their bloody money to make things worse. And if you look at all the the reasons why Manchester United has protested more is because when you see clubs like Man City and Chelsea and their owners are actually in love with the club, Manchester United, if you're talking about Manchester United, we have about 105 billion pounds have actually gone to the Glazers. On the other hand, owners like Roman Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour, they have actually spent about 500. They have actually poured 500 million into the club over the last 5 seasons. Why wouldn't Manchester United fans be unhappy about it? I really like the fact that they went through this protest. This was something that this is not the first time this was done. I don't know how many of you would know this, but I remember there was this occasion in 2010. There were
The famous Beckham
yeah,
picture,
yeah.
the famous Beckham picture with the
Yeah,
the Beckham picture. Yes, yes.
there were like an association of wealthy Manchester United fans who actually wanted to buy Manchester United for about 1 billion, and then they didn't want to sell Manchester United because it's such a fantastic commercial project. Why would you want to sell Manchester United? But the thing that I don't get with Glazers, we talk about them being they being money driven. There is another side to Glazers that the people don't talk about. They're money driven, fine, but aren't they actually money driven? They are not even good business people, because if you talk about players like Ander Herrera, they let Ander Herrera go on a free. Why would you want to do that? That's 20 million that could have been spent on another player. They just let him go on free. It's absolute rubbish management. And you know where this all started? It was all started when we actually let David Gill go, and we actually hired some ludicrous spreadsheet guy named, I don't even want to name him. His name is Ed Woodward. He's absolute horseshit, man. We got him, and he doesn't know any shit about football. Just imagine if you're talking about his first transfer window, we were thinking about buying Cesar Fabregas the entire summer, and then we ended up buying Marouane Fellaini of all people in the world. That's absolute rubbish. That's trash, because we won. We actually were the Premier League champions last season, and then we bought Marouane Fellaini. That's our club down in the mud. Very first moment. That's the start of where it all conspired to. And now the thing with Manchester United fans, they are supposed to be go crazy about this, because we have been going through this for such a long time. And to make things worse, how dare they want us to be in the ECL? Don't they know what happened in 1958? How the hell? How could they do it? I mean, if you talk about 1958, oh my goodness, when I every time I think about them, tears just comes out of my eyes. Man, I don't know what to say about the Flowers of Manchester, man. They gave their lives away for playing in. They went to Yugoslavia and they were coming back. And to make things worse, and that's like the worst day to be a Manchester United fan. I mean, they passed away. 8 Manchester United players passed away, and then 23 people actually, in total, passed away. I mean, they don't give a damn about that. The European, it's in our DNA, man. It's in our bloody DNA. And then even Matt Busby was, the people from hospital were like, the doctors were like, he doesn't have much to live, and then he's and somehow or the other, somehow way he survived. And then even he did not think he had in himself, because he was so devastated. But his wife said, the lads would have wanted you to carry on. My God, and then he did. And then after 10 years, we were the European champions with Bobby Charlton, man. And then they wanted to take this away from Manchester United. How bloody dare they? And talking about our own manager, he won us the 1999 final with the goal. 2 goals, man. Sheringham and him, he scored in the Scottish time. Oh my goodness, they wanted to take those out of Manchester United. How bloody dare they? And talking about Ahmed bin Parvez Bhai's point about turning the tide by signing Sancho. Really? Sancho was supposed to be signed last season. It's not a signing for this season. They are just turning us around. And if we are so stupid to believe in them again and actually support them, then we are stupids, man. We are the worst fans ever, because we have to understand this was a project for last summer, not this summer. If this keeps on going, then they're going to show us this summer, and then we're going to buy something next summer. That is something just cannot be allowed. And talking about the future of Manchester United, I'm sorry to say, I don't see Manchester United getting sold for 5 million. Who's gonna buy Manchester United for what, 4 billion in this pandemic time? No one. And you know what? This might be sour grapes too here, but I think even if someone does come up with the 4 billion pound, they are not gonna sell him. Why would they? As far
Because
as they know, they want.
it's their biggest cash influx.
Absolutely.
It's their
No,
biggest
man.
cash influx.
They want to take our club to an estimated valuation of 10 billion, and that could be possible. But the thing is, they are going to take so much more money out of our club, and that's just something I just absolutely cannot take
Exactly.
anymore. I so wish I was in England and Manchester, and trust me, and I don't know how many of you know me perfectly, but I would have been the first one there, man. I would have been the first one there, and respect to all the Manchester United fans who called off the game against Liverpool. That is a statement. That should be a fucking statement. And if that isn't a fucking statement, then Glazers actually, they don't actually know anything about football. But if they don't know that's the biggest game in the calendar, then they are just the most horseshit owners there could ever be.
Yeah. So, Mane, I've heard what you all have to say, and I agree with it because they're trying to take away the club that Matt Busby made, that Sir Alex made. They're trying to take away so much culture, and with the ESL, they just proved that they don't know anything about football, and they don't care. If they did, they would never have accepted it. And we can say this about all of the owners, but we can't forget that Joel Glazer was one of the vice presidents of the whole project. The ESL was in itself a disgrace. We could argue about that all the time, but it was a disgrace on its own that we even considered it, and the club like United actually went through it. And all in all, they also tried to throw the manager under the bus by leaving him out in the cold after the Burnley match. And the Glazers, they haven't visited Manchester in 10 years or 12 years, and I'm pretty sure not, a lot of them don't even know where the club is. Like I heard an interview, and that just shows how much the owners care. You talk about Ed Woodward. Ed Woodward was their man. Ed Woodward was their representative. And Ed Woodward is probably one of the worst things to happen to this football club alongside the Glazers. People could claim that the Glazers don't pay Ed, but Ed was the one who financed the deal. Ed was the one who bought the club for them. And we can also say that people could say that, oh, we won the Champions League after 2005. I don't think that was the case. That was not because of the Glazers. That was because of Sir Alex. That was because of the team. That was because of the great team we had. Think of that team and think of how many post Glazer signings there were. Not many, right? And our decline didn't start in 2013. In my opinion, our decline started when we didn't replace a player like Ronaldo. And that shows the ambition of the Glazers. If we replaced him at that time, we could have ensured success for at least 5 more years. Definitely 5 to 6 more years. We wouldn't have fallen as hard as we did. We won a few league titles, but we would have been invincible for the whole time. Like invincible in the terms that we would have won more titles. So all in all, the Glazers, my opinion is these protests are good. These protests will reach them, but the club will not probably be sold unless there is a major government reform because it's such a valuable club. No one's willing to buy it. And even if they do, the Glazers won't be willing to sell. Right. So I just hope this reaches the Glazers, but the Glazers out would be the main option. As a fan from who's not in Manchester, I support the cause. I support Glazers out. I support everything that's happening, and I'd also be one of the first people to go to the go to Old Trafford, stand there and protest because that's what my club needs. That's what, as supporters of this great club, that's what we deserve, and that's what we deserve to see. These owners are probably the worst thing to happen to the club alongside the Munich air disaster. And it just won't end unless there's a change, there's a reform. Ideally, that would be if the Glazers leave, but there has to be a change, and that's all I can say. And the protests are doing a very good job in ensuring that. So we talked a lot about the Glazers. Let's move on to our second point, the UEL trophy, the final that we reached a few days ago, emphatically beating Roma over 2 legs, 8-5 on aggregate. That was a good performance from the team, and I'd say that was a good performance and overall showed how mentally more developed this team is from 2 years back. Do you think this trophy, if we do win it, will it show any accelerated progress under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or do you think that the progress has already been made and this is just going to be something that's an addition or something that's just a starting of something great to come? Parvez bhai.
Well, I'd request Aqib to go first, maybe on this. Akib?
Yeah, Aqib bhai,
Sure,
sorry,
sure,
you
sure.
can go first. You can go first.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever we talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there is all obviously we think about what he has done for the club, but I don't want to judge him on that because that is his role as a footballer for the club, and this is his role as a manager. I mean, I'm not going to say he has been incredible, but with all the funds that he's got, just imagine when he joined Manchester United, and even that season he beat PSG. I mean, nobody expected us to do that on that night in Le Paris. I mean, nobody expected us to do that. And even though we didn't get to the top four, but it was not his fault. It was Jose's fault that we didn't get there. I mean, talking about Ole starting or being a manager for Manchester United. First of all, I love the fact that even though when he was just an interim manager, he let go of Marouane Fellaini, and that is where it started for Manchester United because we let go of the fact that we are not going to play hoop the ball football. That's LVG tactics. That's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tactics. And in the first game that he coached Manchester United, we scored 5 goals, and we hadn't done that since Sir Alex. So we can all say that in his tenure at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure, people are going to moan at our negative football, but he has shown results. I mean, he has taken us to Champions. He was in the Champions League last season. We I'm not gonna lie, we could have been in the Champions League semi-finals. In the finals, man. If it wasn't for Martial, we were the better team against PSG, man. We were the better team against PSG. We could have won that game. We would have been in the finals, man. So to say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has, for me, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has already been a success because with all the because but with Manchester United is that when in his first summer he did get players like Marouane Fellaini and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and he did well.
Maguire,
Yeah,
Harry Maguire.
yeah, Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. So what happens is he did well with the squad. And talking about this summer, I mean, trust me, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't expect even last summer. I mean, you talk about the Bruno signing changing our position in terms of we were sixth in the table and we had absolutely no chance of being third. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made sure he got it. But turning back again, man, Bruno wasn't a signing for the winter transfer window. And to make things work, we were not even supposed to sign him in the winter transfer window. It was supposed to be in the summer window, and we didn't go for him. And the only reason we ended up buying him in the winter transfer window is because Paul Pogba and McTominay were injured. So that was a blessing in disguise for us. And then Bruno actually did change the way Manchester United play. And some would say that it was Bruno who changed everything. But the way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes to play football is very evident that he needs a perfect number 10 to supply the balls, to score goals, to link up with his wingers and strikers. So it's pretty evident with the results that he's got. So talking about
Also,
this season,
also we can talk about Bruno as a player, but we have to also
yeah,
consider that for Portugal, his numbers haven't
yeah,
been as
yeah,
convincing. So
yeah,
maybe
absolutely not,
that shows
absolutely
that
not.
Ole
Yeah, yeah.
has a hand in him performing well, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, that's that. I was actually going to say that point. So every time we see him play for a much better Portugal team, I mean, let's be realistic. Portugal team is actually better than the United team. Absolutely, no doubt about it. They're like a powerhouse right now with all those players, these global icons right now with Ronaldo and Bernardo Silva. They're actually spoiled for choices. But even in that team, Bruno doesn't seem to play in that the way he plays for Manchester United. So we can all say that Ole has used him efficiently. And this season, trust me, I didn't want Cavani. I'm not going to lie. I was not ecstatic about Cavani because we were supposed to sign Sancho, but he made sure that the Cavani signing clicked. Even I mean, some would argue that even Igalo was instrumental to our success last season because that was another deadline day window, that deadline day signing that nobody expected to do well. But with the likes of Cavani and United never, the Glazers actually never give Solskjaer their first target because it was Grealish and Sancho. We ended up buying none. We bought Van de Beek instead of Grealish because it was less price, and then that would mean 40 million in the pocket of the Glazers, man. But that goes to see why Van de Beek hasn't played this season. Even though we are not spoiled for the players that look at the Chelsea team, look at the team of Manchester City. They are spoiled for choices. They have Manchester City can have three different teams, not two. They can have three different teams That's how strong they are. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, without having any players, that he virtually has a squad to choose from 15 or 16 players, and still he is second in the table. And damn it, my goodness, we bloody deserve it. And talk about comebacks. People would say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is autopilot and stuff. You don't get those kind of comebacks with autopilots, man. It seems as if there is a hair dryer treatment of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that seems to be working as well. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been absolutely brilliant, I think, as a Manchester United. But the next step would be to win the UEL and then next season cement a title challenge, man. I think it's going to be really tough because this season, even though we did really well, Liverpool were not at their best. Chelsea did not do well because they had half the season with Lampard, and with Tuchel you can see that they are an improved team. So I'm not going to say we are going to win the title next season, but I definitely want to see us in a title challenge. But it doesn't matter whether we win it or not. We have to be in for the kill at least till next March, and then even if we lose it, that's up for debate. But we have to be in there so that everyone can say the Manchester United are challenging for the title. That's all for me. And Ole has definitely already been a success. The icing on the cake would be an UEL on top of the cherry.
Would be a good way to cap off the season as well. So Parvez bhai, let's hear what your thoughts are on the topic of the UEL and what it means for the team.
Well, Aqib যে perspective থেকে বললো, it absolutely justifies one thing. Without saying we had major progress, he actually showed it, how we had this major progress. So I would just simply go ahead and agree with what Aqib said regarding the definite progress that we can see under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে ওই ঘুরে ফিরে in the last line that Aqib said, he also mentioned that clubs like City, clubs like Chelsea, clubs like Liverpool, they won't just sit back. They will still invest. They will still improve. So for us to even mount a title challenge, we need to get closer to them, which means if they spend this time round, we have to spend on top of that, we have to spend even more, or we have to improve our squad in such a way that we can actually fairly compete with them. Naile, this is kind of like Ole always punching over his weight. But যে প্রোগ্রেশনে ওলে আগাচ্ছে, I am very optimistic because so far I haven't seen any player under Ole who actually deteriorated in form or in style of play. Actually he has improved everyone. আগেকার সময়ে যারা flop, someone like a Fred, যে he wasn't finding any place for himself and no one knew what he was. Ole made some sort of an arrangement for him and now he can be a regular. He's important for us at this point with whatever way he can contribute, because we talk about our midfield being non-creative, especially the CDM positions where we have McTominay, Fred and Matic. Definitely there needs to be a world-class improvement in that perspective. But what if Ole just went with Fred and Van de Beek, or Fred as a single pivot, and what if he acted naive like what Lampard did? Results কিন্তু উল্টাপাল্টা চলে আসতো. He knew how to use his resources and he knew how to get the best out of whatever we had. So as a man manager, I would say he has been excellent, like A+ for man management. The way he resolved the Pogba issue, the way he resolved the Matic issue, the way he's trying to nurture Martial out of his poor form, the way he integrated Greenwood. He actually could have like put him straight into the team and gave him those 90 minutes match after match. He didn't do that. He took his time with Greenwood and he's reaping rewards. If you look at someone like a Rashford, I really know that he is really playing a lot. I mean, more than he should be, maybe injury concerns আছে, but the thing is, আমার কাছে মনে হয় Ole recognizes the players and their mentality, and he treats them accordingly. Something which maybe he has seen how Sir Alex did. Like there will be players who will die for the club, and that even if they give even if they're physically 70% fit, they'll give you 100%. So what does it give in the match itself? It gives a more cumulative chance for you to do better. So Ole has to calculate. He's doing that, and he has his favorites. আমি এটা মানি যে ও সাবস করে না, he doesn't trust a lot of his bench players or players যাদেরকে সে হয়তো চায় না but club sign করে ফেলছে, someone like a Van de Beek. But the thing is, despite all these issues regarding our squad depth, despite the lack of quality that we have in certain positions, I'm more or less very much convinced that he's a great man manager. And he digs out results. He drags his team in a way that has that mentality right now, or has the quality of players in different positions who can, get up of a struggling situation. So আমরা যতবার we get a goal down and then the opponents get scared. Oh shit, what did we do? This did not happen in one day. এটা পুরো সিজন ধরে করতে করতে মানে the critics are now turning out to being believers যে না, this is not a fluke. Mane, this is not autopilot actually. This is something else, and this is something that people will realize even more next season. Amar mone hoy the same progress if we keep on showing. And the UEL trophy, it's just something to shut the mouths of, অযথা কোনো রিজনিং ছাড়াই যারা হেট করতেছিল আর কি, যারা বলতেছিল যে Lampard has the money but no brains, Arteta has the brains but no money, and there's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who
Who
has
has none
nothing
of
but
them?
just vibes. Just vibes আছে. So he has outlasted everyone. He has outlasted Jose
Just look
Mourinho.
at autopilot.
এই তো, with his autopilot, with his PE teacher vibe, with his good boy vibe. So যাই করুক না কেন, what he has done the others couldn't. They're all sacked, they're all crying, sulking, and look at where Ole is, look at where United is, despite the shit owners. So the UEL would only reinforce one point, that the players has that mentality. Playerদের mentality নিয়ে অনেক question হচ্ছিল যে can he bring out that mentality of the players where they actually go ahead and cross the line. We go into semi-finals and then we lose. আমরা এরকম 5 বার already হয়ে গেছে, but thankfully এবার হয় নাই. So this could be the point where there's this threshold, or there's this ignition point where a process yields rewards. আমার কাছে মনে হচ্ছে যে এই যে প্রসেসটা স্টার্ট হয়েছে under Ole, this is the maybe the first point of reward yielding. Like Sir Alex, I wouldn't compare it with Sir Alex's tenure, definitely not, but there are certain similarities, there are certain checkpoints where you can find similarities. So ওই জায়গাটাও একটা factor যে he
Of
was, Sir
course.
Alex was under pressure, there was Fergie out, chance all over the place. United hadn't won anything in 3-4 years after even he came in, and then they won the FA Cup, right? That wasn't the league, that was just an FA Cup. But winning something, or crossing that hurdle where you feel that yes, I can win, that is a big deal. And I think if United get through that, whoever it is, Villarreal, UEL trophy, the UEL music, doesn't matter. আমরা next season যখন চ্যাম্পিয়ন্স লিগে যাব, trust my words, এরপর থেকে we won't be out and back in the UEL very soon. That's for sure. I mean, I have a feeling that এই প্লেয়াররা যদি ওই মেন্টালিটি build up করতে থাকে, and if they keep on improving, we have a young squad, man. Look at the guys that we have. তারা যদি একটু ফিট থাকে, and if they have that mentality to progress under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we have a great future, man. But imagine us still trying to be skeptical, or still trying to be doubters, whereas there are these delusional fans of delusional clubs যারা হচ্ছে গিয়ে ধরো 9th 10th থাকে, and then they have nothing else to fight for, and they still keep on saying আমাদেরও talented players, so we have a future. ভাই কেমনে possible? মানে you have to be realistic as well. But I have a feeling আকিব যেটা বলতেছিল যে anything less than a title challenge next season would not be good enough for us. It won't be. So
Absolutely.
we
Absolutely.
can't just keep on sitting on the Ole bandwagon saying যে না, we're still happy. ও আছে এটাই আমাদের পজিটিভ, এরকম ভাবলে কিন্তু হবে না. We have to be ruthless, and Ole has to be ruthless as well. And let's see what ways he can find to be ruthless despite our shit board. But
Exactly.
the
Yes.
UEL trophy will definitely help us.
Yeah.
And
So
another point that we must always differentiate him as a player and as a manager. These
of course,
Exactly,
two
of
things
course,
exactly.
cannot
he's
be the
he's
same thing.
he's
We
our
cannot
he's our
think
he's
of
one of
them
our
the
best
same thing.
players. He's one of our best players. He was a legend. He won us the Champions League, and he had an instrumental part throughout his United career. He's a lot of our favorite players. He's someone that we respect as a player. But I believe, personally, this may sound a little bit ridiculous, but I believe that he's also building this respect as a manager, because the mentality changed, the morale changed, the management style changed, everything has changed under Ole. We've made rapid progress in 2 years. I don't think people would have expected that 2 বছর আগে we would be challenging for the title. We would be even in the race for any trophies, because we were absolutely mid-table. We had a dressing room full of egos, dressing room who didn't want to play for the club. Horrible, absolutely horrible. And from there we've went to there. People may say Ole is nice, Ole is this, Ole is that, but we don't know what happens behind the scenes. We've seen ruthless Ole, We've seen nice Ole, we've seen supporting Ole, and we've obviously seen an Ole who knows how to manage his players, who knows how to manage the youth players, who knows how to manage every single player who wears the United shirt because he knows what it feels. He knows how it feels, he knows what it means. And I've seen people say that, oh, Ole supports the Glazers. I'm sorry, but when you work somewhere, you can't go around bad mouthing your boss. Believe me, he saw the club at its best. He saw the club during its sort of decline, like during the early 2000s when Ruud van Nistelrooy was here and Chelsea and Arsenal were winning titles. He saw that, so he knows how the club should be run. He knows how it should be, and he knows best that the Glazers are the worst thing that has happened to this club. All I can say to every single United fan that's watching this is support him, but we should be expecting a title challenge next season, obviously, because of the progress he's made. Because naturally, when you're third, your second step has to be second. And then from that, you have to be first or mount a title challenge. But it all depends on the board as well. If we don't have enough backing from the board, you can't expect a paper thin squad to go all the way. I can even go out on a limb and say our starting 11 is one of the best in the league. But we are let down in the subs. We are let down in the substitutes.
I
And
actually
that
don't agree about our starting 11 being the best, though, but go ahead.
one of the best. I said one of the best in the league, not the best. One of the best in the league, and I could say that if football was played 11 versus 11 without the subs, without the squad depth and everything, we would be higher. We would be in a better position. But
Absolutely. We would.
it's the depth. It's the depth where we fall apart. It's the depth where we fall apart. You have to think about the center backs. We have two center backs, one of whom has played every single minute of Premier League football since he joined the club. He's been playing non-stop for 2 seasons with painkillers. So you can imagine how much devout we are of depth and
And the
how
other one has back issues and he still keeps on. And then Ole
and,
still
And he's
keeps
not very good
improving.
either. Like,
and he's not very
Yeah,
good
he's
either.
not. He's not. He's
Exactly.
not.
And
That's another thing. But he has back issues, and Ole still has to play him. So that goes to
and,
see
and,
where our
and, and,
depth.
and we have to and we're talking about injuries. We have someone like Rashford who is in desperate need of rest, but he still plays every minute, almost every minute. And this also goes down to the mentality of the players. They're willing to give up everything for the manager, which is something I haven't seen,
mm,
frankly, in a very long time. All in all, I'd say the UEL trophy is something that's going to help. Of course, it's going to help. It's going to be Ole's first trophy as a manager for United. It's a milestone trophy, of course, but we just have to move on from here. We just have to move up and up. We have to move up and up. Our next task at hand has to be progressing to at least the quarterfinals or the semifinals of the Champions League, mounting a title challenge, and if possible, trying to win one of the cups. That will be something that will be accepted as a season, because I wouldn't say United is completely ready to challenge for the title. Completely ready, it's not. But we're there. We're almost there. We're very close. We're closer than people may think we are. We are closer than people may think we are. And under Ole, anything can happen. That's what I believe, at least. Seeing his progress over the last 2.5 years and seeing what he can do when he gets his players, it's just signs that good times are coming. And hopefully, we'll see. It'll be like a fairy tale for all of us, seeing one of our ex players doing well as a manager. So, all in all, this was our first episode. We tried to discuss all of the topics, all of the burning topics, and everything. Please, guys, leave comments or suggestions down below. Get involved in the discussion. Thank you so much, Parvez Bhai and Aqib Bhai, for
It was an
joining.
honor, man.
It was
Absolute honor.
joining. For joining and for this is a let's hope this goes on for longer, and let's hope that we can continue this project, because I'd certainly be delighted to talk to United fans and just to know what everyone feels about the club, and to know what everyone wants to do, know what everyone wants to happen to the club. So amazing to hear what you both have to say. You're both seasoned veterans, and I'm honored that I got the chance to ask and to discuss with you guys. So, guys, get involved, and thank you for watching.
Thank you, guys.
With him, doesn't need him. Great